We are starting with the first poem today. You have your new book and all of you must be very excited about learning English because now you're in Standard 5. So we are going to go through the Bal Bharti and I am your teacher Rashmi Liu. Let us look at the first poem. The name of the poem is What a Bird Thought. Pakshi ne kya socha? Do you normally think of what the bird must be thinking? You must be thinking, if I were a bird, I would fly high in the air. Everyone likes to be a bird because we feel they are free in the air and they fly so high. Now let us see what the bird is thinking. Okay, what a bird thought. Go down to page number 1. I lived first in a little house and lived there very well. The world to me was small and round and made of pale blue shell. So the bird is telling us that I used to live in a house before. मैं घर में रहा करता था and lived there very well. बहुत अच्छे से रहा करता था. The world to me was small and round. मेरी दुनिया छोटी थी, गोल थी and made of pale blue shell. Shell यानी अंडे का जो बाहर का छिलका रहता है, that is known as shell. So I was made of a pale blue shell. That means when the baby bird is there inside the egg, so he is talking about being inside a shell, so his world was small and round. Understood? He is not talking about a real house, he is talking about being inside an egg. I lived next in a little nest. Now the next paragraph, second paragraph. I lived in a little nest. Nest यानी घरौंदा, घरट. Nor needed any other. Nor needed means I did not need any other house. So first he was living in the shell, then he was living in the nest. I thought the world was made of straw. Straw is dry grass, hay. Out of that they make the nest. And covered by my mother. So when the little baby is small, that time the mother protects it. The mother bird sits in the nest to keep it warm. One day I fluttered from the nest. Fluttered यानी पंख फड़फड़ाना. So I went fluttering about from the nest to see what I could find. So I went here and there to see what I can find. Normally the bird tries to go and find some food, find some grains, find some worms to eat. I said, the world is made of leaves. I have been very blind. मैं तो अंधा हूँ. I thought the world is made of straw. But there is so much greenery around, so many leaves are there. Now in the last stanza, at last I flew beyond the tree. Finally the bird starts flying beyond. Beyond means uske pare, far away. It went far from the tree and saw the sky so blue. And he saw the sky is so blue and there's so much greenery everywhere. How now the world I really made, I cannot tell, can you? That means, how is the world? When you're a little baby and you're in the cradle, you think that this is the world. Then you become little big. Then you walk around little bit. Then your house is your world. Then you go to school. So you see there is a bigger world. Then you go to college. So then you realize how big the world is. So same way, the bird in the beginning, what was his home? It was the egg. Then after that, where did it go? It was in the nest. So here he thought it was made of pale blue shell. That was the egg. When he was in the nest, he thought it was made of straw. And he had the warmth of his mother. Then when he went out into the world, when he saw little far away, when he went away, not very far away, then he saw that there are leaves. And when he went up in the sky, in the blue sky, that time he saw that such a big world is there. So he said the sky was so blue, and then he saw what a big world it is. See here, starting with a small world inside the egg, then in the nest made out of straws. Then when he went far away, he saw there are leaves. And then when he went high up in the sky, he could see such a big world down there. Let us recite the poem once. I lived first in a little house and lived there very well. The world to me was small and round and made of pale blue shell. I lived next in a little nest, nor needed any other. I thought the world was made of straw and covered by my mother. One day I fluttered from the nest to see what I could find. I said the world is made of leaves. I have been very blind. At last I flew beyond the tree and saw the sky so blue. Now, how the world is really made, I cannot tell. Can you? Can you tell me? So the bird is asking, I'm a little confused first. I thought I knew how the world was. Now I'm a little confused. Even you will get confused. How big actually is this world? Very, very big. You recite the poem a few times till you know it by heart. Once you can say it without looking, you should be able to say it without looking at your book. Because if you have it for orals, if you have it for recitation, then you're able to say it nicely. Say it slowly, recite it properly, pronounce each word properly. Okay? Now, first question, find out and list the rhyming words of the poem. Everybody knows what are rhyming words? If you see in a poem, the last words, they sound similar at the end. The last ending sounds similar, which is what makes it very musical and poetic, so that when we recite it, it sounds very nice. Now let us have a look at the rhyming words. Okay? In the poem, first you will find well, and with that you have shell. This is the first pair of rhyming word. Next, you have other and mother. Next, find and blind. And the last one, blue and you. Can you see how the sound is rhyming? Well, shell, other, mother, find, blind, blue, you. Now, some of the words, if you look down at your poem, like house, round, or nest, straw, then nest and leaves, tree and maid, these last words are not rhyming. So you will find that in each of the stanzas, well and shell, if you see, it is the second line and the fourth line. So everywhere you will see that the second line and the fourth line have rhyming words, and the first and the third line do not have rhyming words. How many stanzas are there in this poem? 4. How many lines are there in each stanza? 4. So how many lines is the poem of? 4 multiplied by 4 is 16. So you have only 16 lines to learn. Will you be able to do it? And then you will be able to recite it by yourself. Okay. Now let us see the third question. Second question we have already done. Learn and recite the poem. I am assuming that you must have learnt it. Now third one. Describe the following in 1 or 2 lines. The first little house of the bird. So we already saw the first little house of the bird was made of pale blue shell. Then the nest. The nest was made of straw. and the world around the bird's nest. So what was there around the bird's nest? There were leaves and there was bright blue sky around the world, that is of the little bird. Imagine the following and write about each in your own words. Now, what the world looks like to a baby. Suppose you're a baby and you're lying down in the little pram or you're lying down in your cradle. How will the world seem to you? You'll be lying down, you'll only look at the ceiling and you'll say, there is nothing else. Whatever is around in the room, only that much you'll think it is. What the world looks like to a fish. Now what will a fish say? Fish will say, there is water, water all around. Everywhere around he will see fish. Or he will say, there are lots of big fish who might eat me. The small little baby fish will get frightened, no? Because there will be so much water. Okay, so this was your poem. Let us see if we can make some extra questions in this and we will write it down. Okay, now here I lived first in a little house. So if we ask, where did the bird first live? So the bird lived in a little house. How did he think the world was? He thought that the world was small and round. In the next stanza, did he need any other house? No, he was happy with his little nest. Who covered the little bird? His mother covered the little bird. What did the bird do? One day he fluttered from his nest. Why did the bird think he was blind? Because earlier he had never seen leaves. And in the last stanza, he went far beyond. Now here, which words are difficult? Let us see. In the first stanza, are there any difficult words? I think you should know all of them. They're all small words. In the second stanza, no, but in the third stanza, there might be a new word, fluttered. F-L-U-T-T-E-R-E-D, fluttered. Fluttered means to beat one's wings. Beat does not mean marna. Beat means fadfadana. Okay. Next, is there any difficult word? Beyond. Beyond means far away. So these were the only difficult words, otherwise the poem is quite easy. So you can recite it and you can write it. Now let us see, suppose I ask you true or false. So you can tell me. The bird was unhappy in its first house. Was it unhappy? No, false, it was happy. Second, the bird flew very confidently from the nest. With a lot of confidence it flew away happily from its nest. Did it fly confidently? No, false. How do we know? Because it fluttered. Because it was just trying to fly. When you try to walk, you are a little unstable, correct? So same way, when the bird tries to fly, it is little unconfident or it does not have that much confidence. Next, the nest was made of straw. True, correct. The bird knows how the world has been made. No. How do we know that the bird doesn't know? It knows is a false statement because he is asking us, do you know how the world is? Do you know what it is made of? Because I don't know. First I used to think it is made of pale blue shell, then I thought it was made of straw, then I thought it was covered with my mother, then I realized there are leaves, there is blue sky. Now I really don't know. What is the sky made of? What is the earth made of? What are all these trees and all? I don't know anything. Do you? Hello students. I trust that you must have understood lessons. we have tried to use minimum Hindi or using a language which is easy because now you are in the 5th standard. You must try to improve your vocabulary and try to understand things in English itself. If there are difficult words from the dictionary, of course, we have given as many meanings as possible, but if you feel, you can always find it. Now there are some things which we need to imagine. If I just tell you something is a flower or something is a bird, you may not be able to imagine it. So we have made a little picture library for you according to each lesson. So now let us look at the pictures so that you get a better idea. You'll be able to imagine it in your mind also. It will be fitted nicely and you'll be able to understand better. Okay, so we start lesson wise. This is unit 1, what a bird thought. Do you remember the lesson? In that you had an eagle. Okay, this is what an eagle looks like. It normally glides. It does not flap its wings and it glides very smoothly. So this is an eagle. This is a straw nest. You can see how the nest looks, and these are the eggs of the birds which are laid in it. Normally a bird builds a nest when it has to lay eggs. The mother bird with her hatchlings. Hatchlings are those birds which have just hatched out of the egg. Later on, when they are in the nest for a while, they are known as nestlings. Here you can see the mother bird. In her beak, she brings food for the little baby birds and puts it in their mouth because they are not yet ready to go fly and find their own food.